All right, thanks to Blumhouse, we have our first horror movie of 2023. I'm, of course, referring to the much-anticipated M3GAN. Now, before we really get into the details of this movie, I want to say this movie went ahead and confirmed two things that I thought I already knew, and now I can say I most definitely do know to be true. And those are: avoid Blumhouse marketing at all costs, and never put too much stock into a tomato meter score on Rotten Tomatoes. So, what am I talking about here? Well, Blumhouse is kind of infamous for showing you the entire movie in a trailer, and I sadly have to say that this trailer did that. You see the first act, you see the second act, you see the third act, and you see all the peak moments of the movie. So if you saw that dancing bit in the trailer like I did, and you pleaded for there to be more of that in the movie, for that not to be the sole instance of that type of thing, for it to keep that sort of dark comedic flavor and have lots of instances of crazy, weird, demonic-looking doll dancing, you're going to be let down. That is the only moment that really happens in the movie. If you saw that moment where she bends over and starts crawling towards that boy at this frantic, freakish pace, well, guess what? That's the only time in the movie something like that happens. You don't keep that same frenetic pace. This is not a high-octane action thrill ride. The movie is not that dark. You have seen everything you wanted to see already, and it was in that trailer, which has played over and over and been marketed to you aggressively for months now, which is a huge letdown. So if you've seen the trailer, the movie is going to have a hard time living up to the hype. I really envy anybody that went into this movie just unknowing, having not seen anything. Now, for the Rotten Tomatoes thing, Blum, being a master of marketing, keeps pointing out how great the score is on Rotten Tomatoes. 94%, 95%, 96, 97%, whatever it is currently at. But that 97% is not the same as when you were in school and you had to bust your ass to get a 97% on your calculus test. That 97% is actually just an amalgamation of 60%. Hang with me here if you don't know how Rotten Tomatoes works. Basically, to be fresh, you just got to give it a 60%, 6 out of 10, 3 out of 5. And that's about what I would give this movie. That's not a ringing endorsement. That's not me going, oh, I stand for M3GAN. I'm going to bang the drum. This is the best movie of 2023. I don't expect this movie to be in my top 10 horror movies of 2023 by the end of the year. It's okay. It's all right. It's run of the mill. It does a lot of things I've seen before and sometimes seen better, but it's not offensive. There's still, artistic merit and there's effort. There's redeeming qualities, but it's not wonderful. It is just okay. But that's enough. If enough people go, hey, you know what? It's okay to get that 97%. So keep that in mind every time you look at Rotten Tomatoes and you try to judge the merits of a movie off of a tomato meter. Now, the movie itself, why do I give it that 3 out of 5? Is because, for one, it has some strengths. The doll looks fantastic. The robot, the android, whatever you want to call M3GAN, she looks fantastic. I love the design of the doll. I love that it looks like walking Uncanny Valley, that it looks like the satanic spawn of Mary-Kate Olsen and, well, Ashley Olsen. That's how messed up that doll looks. I love that it's not some poorly rendered CGI mess and we're not watching two human characters play off of a tennis ball on a stick and some green screen. It's there. It's in the real world, and it looks that way. They do a good job of making you guess when it is an inanimate object and when it is a person in a costume. The movements look great. The doll's great. And the way that it starts to take wear and tear throughout the movie makes it really funny at times and also a little bit creepy at times. So a round of applause for that. But the biggest round of applause, the things I really have to hand this movie flowers for, are the way it goes after its central theme. I love the way that it talks about real life horrors, things we should all be terrified about because it is real and it is happening. We live in a time where we have billionaires just brazenly admitting that they would love to put chips in our brain someday. The San Francisco board of whatever just recently had to say, you know what? We were wrong when we went ahead and approved the use of robotic police officers with the ability to use deadly force. They approved that measure. And then there had to be public outcry from them to go, oh yeah, that could end pretty poorly, couldn't it? More people need to see RoboCop, I guess, because apparently we are living in the age of RoboCop. We're giving up so much of our security and privacy to corporations and billionaires for just a little bit more convenience. If your kid starts to be a little bit too much of a hassle and you don't want to deal with them, you just want some quiet, you put the iPad in front of them and you let somebody else raise your kids. That is the way we do things now. And this movie just really hammers away at that. It shows every little bit of it. You walk into a house and go, oh wow, look at that, look at that, look at that. That is all kind of being used against me. People are making money off of me, and we're inching towards a time in which, commoners, people with a certain degree of education and lacking a certain amount of skill, it's going to be really hard for them to find jobs because we're going to eliminate things like trucking at some point. And there are so many truckers in the world. So what do those people go do? Because they're not going to be able to work and program the trucks. They're not going to be able to create new software and things like that. So what are we really inching towards? monkey to man or man to machine? Are we building our replacements? This movie drives at that. It's existential dread. It's terrifying. It gets you talking about it with people after the movie. If you've all seen that in the movie, that's the best part of it. Unfortunately, we're not doing things with Android. We have these dull-ass, bland human characters, and you just needed a human element in this movie for it to really pop off and get going and make you invest in it, but we don't have that, which is crazy because Allison Williams is usually so great, and she's not bad. It's not a performance issue. It's just a script that doesn't have time for real human characters. Here we have a little girl and her aunt. The little girl has lost her parents, and yet the movie has no heart. There's no somber moments. There's no tender sweetness to this movie. There's no little affable, oh, that was nice. That was sweet and touching. I really am rooting for these two. Please protect them at all costs. No, you don't care about them really at all. They are just bland, vanilla characters that are going through the motions, and you needed that human element to juxtapose with our killer android who's trying to act human. You see what I'm saying here? See how that could have really made things pop off? And then, of course, the highlights of the movie, as I said, are already in the trailer, and they don't get any more vicious than that. That really let me down. It is a PG-13 movie in every kind of way. Anytime you start to get just a bit dangerous, we cut to black, or we go to another scene, or we go to a bright, sunny moment. We do some sort of little ha-ha, and I don't want that. I want my horror to feel, unpredictable, dangerous. I want there to be tension and dread, and you can't have that when you know you are safe from that doll because Blumhouse has put you in a bubble. You are a sweet little bubble boy, and that doll cannot hurt you. Don't worry. We won't let you show it do anything all too malicious or nasty. So that is why the movie for me is like, it's in a 2.5 to 3 out of 5 range. Pretty smart script in moments. I really love the way it drives at the theme, and it makes me think about the world I live in and how damn scary it is in some ways. You have a great doll that is designed wonderfully and does some pretty neat, interesting stuff, and I would really be over the moon with it probably if I hadn't seen it 10,000 times in the last 2 months. But there's still some other script problems. Some of the humor doesn't quite work. It's not nearly as terrifying and entertaining as it probably should be, and for that, it's just a, okay, good start. We're not stumbling out of the gate, but we're not sprinting off the block either. The year's getting off to an okay footing. The movie is all right, has strengths, has weaknesses, and it's just I myself prefer the Child's Play 2019 remake, which this movie is being compared to over and over again because there's so much about the story, the antagonists, the themes and stuff that are similar. But to me, that movie had a more human element. The characters were flawed, but very real and lovable. The violence was way up to the nth degree compared to this movie. You never knew what was going to happen, and there's a lot of cool viscera and gore in that movie, and not so much with M3GAN. So there you have it. That is my review of our first movie of the year. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Are you a fan of M3GAN? Do you want a sequel? Do you want this to be our next horror icon, or do you think it just was mostly a misfire? Let me know your thoughts, and I got a big ask for you. You can go out and have yourself a great day. I'm Nate from natemareflix, and that's a wrap.